now we straight chillin', serial killing, pre-cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ on the ones and twos by the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to another beastly, bulging episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 512, recorded Sunday, January 19th, 2025. Tonight we're talking about a new release, Wolfman, that new Lee Winnell joint. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy Randeezy. What's up, dog?
Holy jumped up ball-headed Jesus Palomino.
What's going on, baby? You ready to talk more Wolfmangs in this house? It's been a while. It's been a little bit since we covered a Wolfmang.
It's true. It might have been like The Howling 2 was the last one or something like that.
It would have been Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet. That's
over that.
Yeah.
Unless
good
there's
call.
something between. Yeah.
Yeah, not too many werewolf movies come across the desk, but tonight we got one. We got one.
We got one.
We got him. Last but not least, calling in from Florida, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy Alpha Stains, ready to talk about some wolf culture with my boy Sigmund Bob and Lambda Randeezy.
Sigmund.
I'm a Sigmund.
Not Sigma.
Yeah.
Sigmund.
My boy Sigmund Bob.
Sigmund Bob.
I
Sometimes
march
a
to
pipe
the
is
beat
just
of
a
my own
cock.
drum. Damn. Oh, Alpha Stains. More like wolf culture, right? Wolf, man.
Woof.
Wolf. Yeah, that's appropriate.
Wolf. Wolf, man.
Wolf
It's all
culture.
about- The inflection really carries a lot of weight there. Before we get into Wolfmang, let's tackle just a little bit of housekeeping real quick. We do have our February poll currently posted on our Patreon website. If you guys support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this February. The theme for February is modern sci-fi movies, and the three movies are Dark City, Signs, and The World's End.
Whoa, Bob. How those numbers looking?
That's Sigmund Bob to you.
Whoa, Sigmund. How those numbers looking?
They're looking mostly the same. A little bit of change. World's End still in last place, 12% of the vote. Dark City, second place, 35% of the vote. Signs on top with 54% of the vote.
All right, it's loose on a little ground, but yeah, still on
Yeah.
top.
Some dark horses still riding there. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Well, we
Yeah.
got a couple more weeks. This is a long, bleak, dark month, so
Cold, horrible month.
Sure is.
gloomy, depressing, crippling.
At least
Yeah.
we got a great movie to talk about.
So
Right,
yeah,
right.
at least we got some good horror movies coming out in the theaters that we can count on to pull
January
us
is
out of it.
famously the month for horror. We know this.
Every once in a
Famously.
while, you catch a baller movie in January, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not. It's not every year.
It's not.
It might not be this year.
You got your Megans, your Winchesters,
Ooh,
Your Winchester.
Hey, now.
I forgot that movie existed. That shit sucks.
Dude. Megan, at least, was February, I want to say. So.
Oh well, okay.
Yeah,
then.
and people love that shit. And
I know
They sure
people
did.
do.
Wolfman. Get your votes in before the end of the month. We'll see what we're talking about this February. We're dropping mini casts every other Friday. Just had one drop this past Friday. Talking about Red Rooms. That's
Oh,
available on Patreon currently. And yeah, who would have thought there were so many different ways to interpret this
Yeah,
film?
that
The Slack was popping. man.
Slack has been popping ever since that dropped.
It had a lot of convo, man. We're gonna have to
Yeah.
figure something out with that.
We got to, because we are all over the place on that film.
Yeah, we did like a whole basic like
Basically
straight
a
show,
show, yeah.
like in the
Yeah,
Slack.
on the Slack.
We wrote something.
I
Like we
know.
wrote a couple essays worth of material just to argue.
And just throw that up on. We should copy and paste and throw that up on the website.
Oh yeah, we should just have
Yeah.
AI read the thread. That's how we're gonna release the episode.
Perfect. Check that out over on Patreon, available to you right now. The only other thing I got is at the time of you listening to this, Let's Get Physical Media would have just dropped a new episode. That's my boy Mikey and myself talking about Blu-rays, 4Ks, DVDs, sometimes some VHS as well. And where we just dropped our top 10 releases of 2024. So we each chose our top 10 movies of the year and talk about
Nice.
them. And there's a lot of good shit that came out last year, like an insane list of stuff, actually.
Top 10 movies or like top 10 releases? Like what is it broken down by?
Just top 10 physical releases. So they don't have to be
Okay, okay.
new movies, just anything that was put
Okay, I
out.
gotcha.
Yeah. So check that out. Let's Get Physical Media everywhere you get your podcasts. Do you guys have anything you need to plug, talk about?
I do have some things I need to talk about. So, I am going to be on a lot of features coming up, actually. And there's two available right now in a couple different ways. So, if you will recall, I'm a bit of an Arctic Monkeys nut, as they say.
I recall.
And I have become good friends with the guys over at Don't Believe the Hype, a podcast that covers the entire catalog of the Arctic Monkeys. They are in their fourth season, covering the Arctic Monkeys' fourth album, Suck It and See. And one of them has been having some serious technical issues. So I've been kind of like filling in as they cover the
That's-
B-sides.
It's a shame
So
for that guy.
I'm sure you had nothing to do with the
I had
sabotage.
not, yeah,
Yes.
sabotage in England. I have those capabilities.
For England, James.
The first
Um,
episode is coming up this week on Wednesday. It's called IDFT. It's a Second and See B-side, but also too, I joined them on their. This is more akin to this podcast. Their bonus content where they cover the Last Shadow Puppets songs, which is the side project of Alex Turner, and Dracula Teeth, which is the song they covered this month, is very horror themed and on a lot of horror playlists every Halloween, and that's the one we talked about. They do a special thing with their Patreon where you don't have to subscribe, but you can purchase individual episodes if you want to. So if you really hanker to hear me talk about horror themed song, Dracula Teeth, and vampire lore and vampire horror films and stuff like that, you can check that out. But yeah, in the upcoming weeks, I'll be on a few episodes of theirs, and I'll mention them every week as they come out.
Cool.
Wow, nice.
Very cool.
That is a lot of features. I have nothing for the record. So, Bob, how is your house?
I
it
think
clean?
we're clean.
All right.
All right.
This house is clean.
All right, let's get into the main event. We're talking about Wolfman, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Whoa, Bob, when are you going to pre-order this box? Soon, I bet.
I don't know if I'll be in a big hurry to pick this one
You
up.
got to finish the collection, Bob. You know, you got to get all the Wolfmangs.
Yeah.
That's a
Can't-
lot of
You
Wolfman.
can't leave a Wolfmang out there.
Yeah.
Can't leave a
Never leave a
Wolfman
Wolfman
behind, Bob.
There you go.
Yeah, there.
I was like, you're
really
right on
miss-
the edge
yeah,
of
I
something
know.
here.
Getting there.
I know.
You're getting there. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Wolfman, you can't pre-order it yet, but I'm sure you'll be able to any day. Brand new release, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 43 minutes. This was written and directed by your boy Lee Winnell. Actually, his wife, Corbett Tuck, co-wrote it with him. And it stars Julia Garner, Christopher Abbott. Apparently Lee Winnell is in this. I don't remember seeing him. That's interesting.
Really?
Oh, it's
No,
just
I
his
didn't.
voice, apparently.
Oh. Over the radio, maybe.
Probably.
yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
That
okay.
makes sense.
Mhm.
Matilda Firth is in this. Not a bunch of names that I recognize, to be honest with you. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. A family at a remote farmhouse is attacked by an unseen animal, but as the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something unrecognizable.
Ooh.
The one in the middle has an unpleasantly ethnic quality.
Oh, God.
Gentlemangs, would you recommend folks check out Wolfman? Randy, kick us off.
Recommend? Not really. If you're into wolf features, then maybe. I personally don't usually go for Wolfman features. So I'm kind of a bad judge for this, but you know, it's January. Options are slim. So if you want a theater experience, I mean, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what all is out, but this might be the best bet you got.
Yeah, there's a Goonies re-release. Go watch that. Juice, what about you?
No, this movie's kind of cheeks, so I would not recommend people check this out in the theater. Bob, how about you? Would you recommend people check this out?
No, I'd say if you are curious, just wait for streaming.
Mhm.
I don't think there's any reason to
Or
rush out to the theater
are
for
you
it.
recommending streaming, Bob? Is that what you're doing right now?
In this case, yeah.
The Blues can hear you.
Whoa, Bob.
I know the shelves are just gonna tumble over on top of me and crush me to death.
Final
You would
Destination
be
style.
crushed to death.
Ah!
That is what would happen.
No survivors.
That sounds like not much of a recommendation at all from the Straight Chilling Crew.
No. Who would have thought? January horror? What?
Who would have thought? There are two more releases coming out this month though that look interesting.
They're all Wolfman.
Presents.
It's
Presents
they
is,
shot the trilogy back to back
Oh
to
my
back.
god.
Oh,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
sure
that's
they.
fucking-
I'm shocked they didn't do that.
And they're
'cause
releasing
what they
them
do.
weeks apart.
That's what they do.
that's
Weeks
how
and
it
weeks
works
and
now.
cheeks. There's presents dropping next weekend, and that's a Soderbergh movie. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
about a haunted house, like shot from the POV of the ghost, which is interesting. And then the last week of the month, Companion comes out, which I am very curious about.
Me too.
Which one
man.
is the Lucy
a good
Liu one?
cast.
Is it Presents?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm gonna check that one out.
so there might be some good stuff coming soon. But we are going to be spoiling the shit out of Wolfmang, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Oh, Bob, hit us with that plot synopsis as thin as it probably is.
This is my alpha plot synopsis, my Sigmund inspired synopsis.
Tell us all about the wolf culture in this film. How accurate is it?
I know a lot about wolf.
I know you
culture.
do. I know you spent a lot of
No.
time, you know.
Rob, you can use the proper lichen if you prefer. I don't want to prohibit you from using,
you.
the technical terminology here.
Thank you for not prohibiting me, Randy.
You're welcome.
Here goes the plot synopsis here. So the movie opens up in remote Oregon, 1995. We see a young Blake Lovell hunting deer with his stern and overprotective father. A hiker has mysteriously vanished, and the locals think it has something to do with an animal-borne virus. They see a creature in the woods, and they hide in a deer blind until it goes away. We then jump forward about 30 years to present day, and we see Blake is all grown up. He's married to his lovely wife Charlotte, and they have a kid named Ginger. Blake is overprotective, like his father was, and Charlotte works a whole lot. She's not around, and she feels like she can't really connect with her kid anymore. Blake gets a letter saying his father is dead. All three of them end up renting a U-Haul and drive up to the old farmhouse to collect his father's things. Along the way, they run into an old acquaintance of Blake's named Derek. He gets in the truck and gives them directions to the house. The sun sets, and a humanoid creature jumps in front of the truck, causing them to crash. Derek falls out and is killed by the creature. The others run to the house and lock the door behind them. While inside, Blake discovers his arm was scratched by the creature and he quickly becomes ill. His hearing becomes super sensitive. He can no longer speak or understand language, and his eyesight is off the chain. He starts eating his own bloody arm, which really freaks his wife out. Charlotte sees a truck outside and jumpstarts it, but before they can drive off, the creature smashes the windshield. They hide on top of a greenhouse, and Blake causes a distraction, allowing Charlotte and Ginger to run back inside. Blake comes back to the house. Charlotte lets him in. He's even further transformed now with claws and hair. The other creature bursts inside, and they fight. Blake bites its neck, killing it, and then he recognizes a tattoo on its arm, and turns out he just killed his own father. He runs out. Yeah, he fucking is. He bites off, he runs outside and chases his family into a barn. He steps in a bear trap and his family runs away. He then bites off his own foot, Saw style, by the way. Lee Winnell, going back to the well. His family hides in the same deer blind as the beginning of the movie, and Blake chases them. Charlotte finds a gun, and Ginger, who is able to read her father's mind, says he wants this to be over. Charlotte shoots and kills Blake. Charlotte and Ginger then wander into the canyon and gaze at its natural beauty. Roll them credits.
All right.
There you go.
Oh, boys.
Pretty straightforward here.
I'm just gonna get this out of the way here. I don't
Yeah.
know, based on the tone you guys are giving, it seems like I might be a little warmer on this movie than you guys are.
Must be, guy.
Because you're really dropping the heavy hint that this is not
I
not a
didn't.
movie
I
you
thought
guys
it
are.
was like aggressively mediocre. There's
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say this is a great movie,
I
but
thought it
I will say
tried
I
to be
enjoyed it more
aggressively
than I thought it
mediocre.
was.
it
Really tried to
like
be.
it
That's
was
interesting.
worse than that. Wow.
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
so.
There was
Well,
the
go ahead.
biggest thing for me was there was just zero emotional resonance. Like I didn't pick up on the emotion between the family. It felt like they were fucking strangers reading lines off cue cards or something.
I felt that same way, dude. It felt like people just reading lines.
Yeah.
There is no, and a lot of it's very tropey, the type of lines they're dropping outside and the big red flag was at the beginning when they're like him and his wife are sitting down on some steps or something. That's when he goes to her work
Mhm.
and he's like, that whole conversation, like, are we okay? It felt like nothing.
Yeah.
And then
I
even
agree.
the later when the daughter dropped some lines, nobody had any chemistry in
Where's
this.
the Riz? There's no
Dude,
Riz.
it
I
was
just feel like
bad.
I feel like the guy like the writing is too tropey. It's almost like just too. That's where it gets aggressively mediocre to me. Is like the way that they interact with each other is very subdued, and I think trying to put forward something, but the actual text as written is so tropey as to be like completely overlookable.
Yeah.
Like you can tell right from the beginning. It's like, oh, what's your job? To read minds, and such as like the whole thing is it's just telegraphs everything it intends to do with every line very, very clearly. And it
Mhm.
doesn't really like. I think the man and the daughter have a little bit of more of a connection than Julia Garner and the husband. I think they really suffer in this movie in terms of relationship, like having forming a realistic relationship. It doesn't feel fraught. It doesn't feel loving. It feels like, yeah, like strangers. Like you kind of
Yeah.
nailed that. That couple in particular, they just don't work.
Yeah, I just didn't buy into the relationship at all. So there's no real stakes whenever anyone is in danger because you're like, well, I don't know. I just don't, I'm just not in it. I'm not bought in. There
Oh
was
I'll
yeah.
say
also,
this. Sorry, go ahead.
there was like, there was also something else that like stuck out to me. Like in certain scenes, like there's absolutely no score, which isn't always a bad thing, but it just felt so hollow in certain places. I don't know if that stuck out to you guys at all.
Not to me, but the soundtrack rarely kind of sticks out for me, honestly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
It was well, and
Bruce?
it wasn't even just the chemistry and the dialogue. I think Randy hit it too, where it is very tropey, and even that guy who comes in, Derek or whatever, and not just
Oh yeah.
Derek, but okay. So elements of this film, one, the text, opening with text, terrible. It's so lazy, and then I was like, oh no, here we go, got it. And it was such basic information that I was like, you could absolutely explain this through the smallest amount of
I don't think
dialogue
they needed
between
to explain
any character.
anything.
They didn't. But the fact that they included that text, and then, like when Derek comes in, that whole exchange was super weird and random and didn't do anything for me. But then when he's got to drop lines like, I don't know, there's animals out here and sicknesses or
You
something.
can't be out at
And I
night,
was like,
remember?
what the fuck? But also, too, this kind of just shits on. I know he's trying to do a modern take, and he did it with Invisible Mang, and it worked in that way. But we kind of have a modern day werewolf idea, that kind of idea of the werewolf without the werewolf, and the idea of the Hulk. Okay, like the conflicts that go into the werewolf of like, I am a man sometimes, and I'm a monster sometimes. And when I'm a monster, I can harm the people around me and these things, and I can't control that. And I didn't really feel like that kind of conflict was here because there was also this element of there's no like back and forth transformation. There's no moment where you transform and do something bad and then come back as a man and have to deal with those consequences, the guilt of that, the idea that you caused this or whatever, which is kind of the core, I think, of a good werewolf tale, in my opinion, this kind of lore. And this just kind of shits on that. I mean, this could is equally be a kind of like not zombie virus, because they never come back as humans. Their humanity is gone and lost. And I
don't
think
know
that's
about that.
important to a werewolf tale, I guess.
I mean, I don't know that I fully agree with that. Like, for one thing, yes, you are right that does, like, this is all happening over the course of one night. He doesn't transform back. I actually thought that was at least kind of interesting. I thought that broke from convention to give it a little bit of interest. Like, I thought that was like, to me, I've seen the Hulk and I've seen werewolf movies, and I'm just not super into them in general. I was happy to see them break format a little bit and give this sort of, like, it's an irreversible thing that just happens to your body. It's not something where you come back the next day and you look normal and you go to work. Like, I don't know. I think that gave it more visceral feeling and added a little credence to the body horror aspect of it. So I was
Yeah.
okay. I was on board with that. Emotional resonance was not on the menu really, but I will say I do want to go back to and say that there was a little bit that I did kind of like, which started with the father and son relationship and how, like, he's very aggressive towards his kid, and clearly he grows up like, it's just so obviously telegraphed that it kind of spoils. But I appreciate what they tried to do with that, where he's just as, like, he's realizing that his father and him had the same impulses of trying to protect your kid and getting annoyed and upset when that happens. And so he tries to, like, work on that about himself and tries to not be that. And he's like, look, I'm sorry I lost my temper. And he tries to, like, he treats the little girl better than the way that he wished that his father had been treated, with those same impulses. And I like that, because I like seeing that then start to grow away as he loses control of himself. And so I don't think that, and I also, what I disagree with on your point though, Justin, is that I don't think that he completely loses touch with humanity until, like, right at the end. Like, he's able to break himself of it when looking at his daughter or looking at his wife in certain situations. And, like, I think that's still there. Like, I think that's the most impactful version of what we see in front. For example, the Hulk is when, like, Black Widow, like, talks him down or whatever. People are able to talk him down, or something interrupts him and he can't be talked down or whatever. Like, I think that's still there. So for me, I'm not really missing that aspect so much.
I don't mind the change of the lore necessarily, having him just get a virus. I know Lee Winnell was influenced by The Fly when conceiving of this, and like
Hmm.
that, taking a werewolf movie and trying to do something more like that, I don't think is a bad idea. I think the core of this movie is a solid idea, and it could be interesting, I think. I don't think they went far enough with that. Because he doesn't really have enough time with his daughter or his wife to understand the dynamics of their relationship. Like, when he gets scratched, he starts turning so quickly, and he's like a little annoyed, yeah, but it's not like monstrous. He doesn't like really do anything really horrible at all in any part of the movie, really. He just transforms and becomes a beast. It's just, I don't think they do enough. And there's also
I agree with that.
this kind of this theme of like scarring your kids, like he mentions he hadn't spoken to his father in decades. And like, that's a long time to just like
Yeah.
cut someone out of your life. But like, we don't see like his dad might be like a little short with him. Like, maybe he's got a bit of a temper, but like, we don't see him like really do anything to scar his kid to like make him just be cut out of his life for decades. So like, when he dies and he has to go back to his house and sort of like confront whatever it was he left, we don't really know what he left. So there's
That's
no
a really good
emotional
point.
resonance
Yeah,
there
yeah.
either.
No, I agree with that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
When I was watching this movie, his dad, I thought, because the kid runs off into the woods to try and follow a deer, and his dad has his rifle trained because he sees a werewolf, but he's not quite sure what it is. I thought his dad was going to start shooting and accidentally like shoot his kid in the leg and like quite literally scar him, and maybe he grows up with a limp or something, and like that'll play into the movie later because he can't run away from the werewolf,
Yeah.
and that's why he gets.
That would have been
And
interesting.
then this scar like physically manifests and like infects him, like his father's um temper or whatever, like quite literally manifests in his leg and spreads throughout his body. Like I thought there was going to be more of a metaphor happening. We just don't see. It's just like an idea of it. Like the father Blake in this like quite literally tells his dad like, sometimes parents try so hard to keep their kids from being scarred. They're the ones that scar their parents or whatever. Like the movie tells you the point of it, but it doesn't show
Yeah.
it very well, I don't think.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. That's exactly
Yeah.
what I was going to say. It's like it's not that it's not that it's not trying to convey something. It's that what it's conveying is feels thin because I guess it's tell not show. I mean, they kind of try to show though. I just feel like they don't do enough to really show what they're trying to show. So like you're saying, I was thinking that like the guy and his father or whatever, like his relationship with him, like it you don't really understand what the problem is between him and his wife or anything more about him and his daughter. And then when they get there, it would have been nice to see him like lose his cool or something, or find out, yeah, like you said, like we don't know what his father did that really scarred him, and ultimately he ends up killing his father and feeling terrible about it. And all we get to hear about that relationship is what he tells his daughter, which is I kind of liked because it was speaking to a child truthfully, but not but still keeping it child friendly enough, like keeping it like
Yeah.
on the level of what a child could understand. So I understood that, but I needed more of that where he wasn't talking to his daughter, where he was just having conversation with his wife or with a therapist, or just I don't know. I want to know what actually happened, and or at least understand how fraught it was. And they could have shown that. Like I don't. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
guess it is a lack of showing. They just don't show enough. I think
Yeah,
you're
which
right on
also
that.
makes a lot of the emotional beats like ring really hollow because even the first scene when we see him as an adult, well, not the first scene, I guess the second scene is like where he gets the letter, and when he was saying, "Oh, my dad is dead." God, that scene just was so flat. When
Yeah.
they're sitting at the dinner table and his wife is kind of talking and he's asking her to step aside or whatever, like that could have been done so much better there. I feel like there are pieces there for that to be more impactful. And so yeah, when it reveals that it's his dad, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't do
Yeah.
anything. And also too, I think the designs look like fucking shit. I thought the mouth,
I thought it was fine.
I thought
So
it
the
was
mouth
all
looked
right.
I
rough
Yeah.
didn't
towards
think it looked
like the fully
good.
the thing is like I don't know. I personally I don't think there's been a Wolfman that I thought looked great. Like I just don't think that it's a very
Trick or
scary.
Treat is still my favorite.
Maybe, yeah. I mean that's up there, but like I just think conceptually it's just not.
It's
It needs
hard.
a Robert Eggers approach. It doesn't
Oof.
need, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it needs somebody who like really takes the lore hyper seriously. And I think they kind of tried to do that with the last reboot with Anthony Hopkins and all that stuff. And I thought that was a valiant effort. I think
Yeah.
this is a valiant effort to disavow itself or unencumber itself of like hyper like retro gothic stuff and try and embrace something more modern. And I appreciate the attempt.
Yeah.
um I like the change of scenery. Like I really love Oregon, so like that's a huge plus for me in this movie. I'm just like have a proclivity towards that sort of environment, but it's just not hitting, and that's the thing. And like it doesn't take the lore seriously. Seriously, the characters don't feel real. It needs those sort of like moments of relatability that aren't CW level telegraphed
Yeah.
or told, so that we can really grip in and appreciate this couple. I feel like I love Julia Garner, and it's really hard to see her not really
She's a
do
great
well here.
actress.
She really is. I don't
Yeah,
know these
not
other
in this.
actors.
Not in this. No,
Like,
it's not
She's
her
just too
fault.
cool and passive. She seems like she's already doing Silver Surfer. Like it's not
Yeah.
disconnected from humanity.
And
Is she
there,
supposed to be
a lot
doing
of-
Silver Surfer?
She's the Silver Surfer.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Oh, Marvel. What's going
there's
on?
also like no real good scares or like kills. There's not like a baller transformation scene. There's no like cool set pieces really. Like The woods, I mean, like the valley is gorgeous, but we don't spend a lot of time there. Like the only kind of set pieces you have are like the house, which doesn't look like much, the barn, which doesn't look like much, and like that greenhouse, which I guess is the coolest thing because it's lit from the inside. But like, why
I
on
didn't
earth
like
would you
that.
hide on top of like a tarp greenhouse? Like that's the worst idea.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's nothing really kind of going on here.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of change because they get there and they're running from the wolf creature. I mean, I guess with the dad changing in the house, it just doesn't feel like anything though. And also too, I was not a big fan of the glowing purple shit. I
I
was
liked that.
like,
All right.
really?
I
I didn't
liked
love
it
it, but I
like
liked it.
at
It's a
first.
unique thing.
Yeah, they kept doing it. They just did it too much. And I think the more you see, the goofier it started to look to me anyways.
Maybe
Well,
that's
in
true.
one
Yeah.
particular point, it took all the tension out of it because it's kind of a cool idea. But to me, I was like, oh, well, that because it's when the mom and daughter are in the barn and it's pitch black and they can't
Yeah.
see that the dad is a wolf and he's standing right next to him. But from the dad's perspective, you can see that he's right there. And he's like, well, then I'm like, well, he would just get them. Like,
Well, but he
I don't
doesn't, and
know. I know
I
he
think that
doesn't.
worked pretty
Yeah.
well.
Nah,
I
it
thought that
killed
worked
the
pretty well. That
tension for
particular one.
me.
Really? To me, it's like it's the old Hitchcock thing where it's like we know why there's tension as an
Yeah.
audience, even if the characters don't. Like we
Yeah.
know there's a bomb under the table, but
Yeah.
what we didn't know is that there was a second bomb under the table, which was the bear trap, and I thought that worked fine. I liked that fine. I liked
Yeah.
like Rob's. I think you're right to say that it was like maybe overdone with the two-way thing, but I really liked that, and I did like, generally speaking, I'm not particularly wowed by big transformation scenes in werewolf movies either. So I was kind of again, like I thought it was unique and an interesting choice for them to make it more of like a transformation movie rather than a transformation scene that you get the big budget, complete budget spend on. But the whole movie, you're right. It's like The Fly, or he's like
Yeah.
slowly losing his humanity, and we see that in a number of different ways, including the blue lights, where we see that like literally communication has broken down.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that that's like a more interesting thing for me to take from a wolf. That's I just wasn't expecting it. It subverted the typical
Yeah.
route,
It's
Yeah.
and
different.
I approve of that.
The
There-
hearing thing, the spider crawling on the wall, that was like
was
okay.
That was
But-
interesting. I actually thought that was
It
interesting.
didn't play in that much, but
It
it
didn't.
just show
Yeah.
him having this fucked up thing happen.
Yeah.
You would think that then the hearing would play in at some point, or
Right.
something,
Yeah. It just
and
kind of
didn't.
goes away after that. You never deal
Yeah.
with it again.
I think the problem with this movie too is the like the characters are so flat and the thing doesn't change that all these elements that we're talking about, I keep thinking about they're constantly done better in other things, which they're like there's nothing about this film where I think like they really nailed that because even another I just remembered another werewolf property that did it like in an interesting more fun throwback way was that Werewolf by Night, which was pretty recent, the Marvel Halloween special, and they did the transformation. Transformation scenes are really hard, and that's what you're always waiting for. And I still think Trick or Treat is one of the best ones. And but it is hard to pull off. So I think you have to be a little creative in some ways. And Werewolf by Night does it where it's this silhouette on the wall, you know, so the person's changing, but you don't have to actually show the transformation outright. You show the shadow of the transformation,
Sure.
which allows your imagination to go. But I mean, you know, so The Fly is infinitely better in that idea of this loved one kind of like breaking down and becoming a monster. But I mean, you know, American Werewolf in London, that has so much more emotional resonance in like somebody's gone from you, you know, there is somebody you're trying to save them from this affliction and they never come back to you. I mean, that's done better. Transformation scenes are done better. There's just nothing about this movie that I think I'm like, wow, that's such a great version of the Wolfman. Like, I don't know. It's different, but I don't think it's good. It's not going to be anything that sticks around with me that I'm going to be like, that's what this movie did really special, you know?
It does, I think, for me anyway. I think that like it's unique enough within the pantheon of werewolf movies for it to take it the approach of The Fly or whatever, where it's watching somebody slip in and out of their humanity. To me, is more interesting. It's just that the humanity that they have is already, like you say, very flat. So the contrast isn't up the way it is in The Fly, where you have like this extremely charming couple,
Yeah.
and then he turns into kind of like a self-assured prick, and then
Yeah.
he turns into a man who wants to die.
Because yeah, to be
so-
fair, The Fly is also in very limited settings. They're essentially in his apartment,
Yeah.
and it's two people. There's not even a kid to have like a little dynamic off of. So it can be done if you're a good if you're doing a good job.
I
you
think
know?
that's really the key here. I think that's honestly the key component that makes this all those things work that you just described, well, except for Werewolf by Night, because it was just a different kind of thing. That was more like
Yeah.
that was comic booky. Like it
Yeah.
was made with a different intent. It was not really meant to be scary, I don't think.
No.
At least not by our standards. This was, and it just doesn't like without the human element really landing, the rest of it falls apart. I think we're a lot closer than I originally suspected based on this conversation. But yeah, it's that's really the killer app. If they had characters that I liked and believed in and understood the relationship dynamics of in a way that wasn't just straight up told to me in the dialogue or telegraphed really badly for future development, I probably would have liked this movie a lot more. The thing is though, like
Yeah.
I didn't have a bad time watching it though. Like I was like nonplussed by it, but I was,
I had a bad
As-
time watching.
I was a little
Really?
bored. Not a
I was,
bad time.
I think I said again out loud when lines would drop. The only notes I was taking, because I was alone in the theater, so I was fine. But the only notes I was taking was how terrible some of the lines were, because I would literally just go, I groan or go, "Oh my God." And it was things like, if this stayed with you, if this scars you, and like, I'm
Yeah.
so worried about you. I don't know what to do. And just all the like thing that it felt so flat. It felt so bad. And those were the only things catching my attention. I didn't write any good notes. I didn't write anything impressive.
The one moment in this
Ah.
movie that did actually get a reaction out of me and made me go like, "Oh, holy fucking shit, that's fucking nuts," is when he starts scratching and gnawing at his bloody arm. I thought that
Yeah.
moment was really strong
Yeah.
and lit cool because they knocked the lamp
Yeah.
over, so you get these
Maybe they should've
shadows on
leaned-
the wall.
I think
maybe
they
they should have just leaned
should've.
into the body horror more, because
think
it's
so.
clear
so.
that they
Yeah.
it's clear that they go to the lengths in a few spots, that and then like where his nails are falling off, or like
Yeah.
a few
Yeah.
different things. And then also I
Tooth.
really did like how
Tooth,
often
yeah.
the teeth, yeah,
Mm.
how like, or the tooth falling out or whatever. Yeah, like
Mm.
I think that like hiding him a lot in the dark was a good impulse that they didn't follow through with enough.
Yeah.
Like they should have just had mostly him in the dark, mostly the werewolves in the dark, which they kind of did, but not entirely. But then also the transformations, you get a lot more of those. If they had done a better balance of those things, I feel like it would have spread apart some of that feeling of grotesqueness throughout the rest of the movie, where it felt flatter.
Yeah.
One
And I
even
know-
the oh, go ahead.
I never felt like he was truly a threat to his family. Like he was
too.
able to maintain control the vast majority of the film. And that again, like removes a lot of tension. There's the other werewolf, obviously, but he's stuck outside. And like Blake is doing a pretty good job at protecting his family from it. So there's just like I'm not like afraid that this little girl's actually gonna like get hurt or this lady is gonna get
She
hurt.
seems, I mean, a little. Yeah, I think that is missing. I don't know. I don't know.
And
where I
there's
was starting to go
moments
with
where
that.
I'm thinking like it could have been more dramatic, or it could have been more tense with the elements that you already have in place. Like I'm thinking about the aspect of the wife calling on the radio and saying like, my husband's sick, like acknowledging. So you could have these dynamics of the wife telling the husband like, no, you're okay, or we're gonna get you out of here, and then have a more desperate scene where she actually gets through to somebody and she's talking to them. And then the husband comes up behind her, and you're like, oh my God, well, that's gonna flip him out, or that's gonna, drive him crazy or something like that. But then you find out he can't actually understand what she's saying now, or what I don't, and I know
Yeah.
that they do
Maybe
that,
they
but
pulled that rug too quickly.
yeah, it
'Cause
didn't have
that
the
would have been good to have some
impact.
conflict there.
Yeah.
So that he can get mad and and therefore his temper, his problems with his father and his
Yeah.
father's temper and his temper can
Yeah.
come to fruition instead of just being like his brain being dulled, which is an interesting thing. But give us if you're gonna set up the temper, then show us that temper flying off the handle again while he's in wolf mode, and then have the brain drain happen.
Yeah, and even I thought when they first got in there, one thing I thought this is definitely going to happen. I just thought it was going to, where they get into the house. I thought he was going to very quickly find a gun. He grew up with his father with guns, and I thought we were going to have a
that too.
scene that was going to have some emotional resonance where he's at a point of no return, where he thinks of taking the gun to himself to protect. I'm transforming. I can't get out of this, and I'm gonna try to save my daughter and my wife. And in the last moments, either he transforms then, or he tries and it's not successful, or whatever we get. But I was man, I don't know. There was just a lot of moments I thought I were kind of telegraphed, or I thought like, this is where we're headed, and it just, and whatever we got, even the last scene of the daughter delivering the line, I was like, this is like a 6-year-old girl saying like, put my dad out of his misery.
Yeah.
It felt so dumb. She
And her
says,
reading
mommy,
his-
he wants it to be over. I was just with no emotion. Like, she's not weeping. She's telling her mom to like kill her father. It's terrible. It's pretty terrible.
her reading her dad's mind is supposed to be like a cutesy thing that is
It
at
does
the
not
end
feel-
so sad, but you just don't feel anything. Yeah, it's like, okay, that's a thing.
about that.
I get it. I get what you're trying to do.
You know what Sorry, go ahead.
There was also like the Chekhov's poisonous mushrooms at the beginning of the movie.
Dude, yeah, what the
thought they would
fuck? I
come
thought
into
about that
play.
too. Like the devil's cap or whatever.
Yeah.
And the jerky, when he's like, what's that smell? And you're like,
Yeah,
oh, what's
yeah.
gonna be in the thing? He's like, oh, it's my dad's jerky. And I was
just
like,
jerky.
what the fuck was that?
I
I
What
thought,
a
that,
weird
I thought that
choice.
immediately after that she was going to be like, I think that's raw or something like that.
Yeah,
Or-
Yes,
something. Yeah.
And he'd be like, is it? No, it's not.
Yeah,
Oh.
what did that
And then,
even
like,
mean?
It meant fair.
That just
I
made
think
jerky.
it only meant that his nose is getting better, like because he's getting
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
becoming more canine. But that was not well. Like for all the things that they're trying to show and not tell, that's the thing you go with, not telling or not bringing around to our attention in a clearer way.
Oof.
I don't know. It's very strange. Very strange. His nose never comes into play ever again anyway. Just like all these there's just a lot of things that are set up that don't go anywhere, and the things that are set up that do go somewhere are very, very fucking obvious. It's an uneven fucking movie. Ultimately, like, I don't know. I compare this to other movies that were released around the same period of time in years past, like The Boogeyman, and I think that
That
I
was a
like that movie.
summertime movie.
Was it really?
I think it was, yeah.
Maybe
It's
I'm
like
misremembering
May
it.
or something, yeah.
Well, I hold it in a similar regard. Let's say that. But I think I enjoyed watching this movie a little more. And
Oh wow.
I'm-
I'd say the Boogeyman's better than
I'd
this.
prefer the
Yeah,
Boogeyman, yeah.
yeah, I don't know that I do. And like, I don't know. I'm struggling to come up with why. I just like, I think that my lowered
Me too, buddy.
expectations because of the subject matter, because I'm just not into wolf tales.
You're not into
like,
wolf culture, Randy?
I'm not.
It
I'm,
shows.
You must not be an
Randy.
alpha, brother.
fuck alpha. I'm, I don't even remember what my nickname was. I don't remember. I'm like
Beta
Delta,
Randy.
No.
Lambda,
Lambda
yeah, that's what it
Ramdeezy.
Lambda.
Ramdeezy. Yeah, I just like it's just not made for me, and the fact that I enjoyed even the slightest bit of it, it was a little bit of a surprise. I had no hopes for this movie except that I liked it.
I mean,
No.
I didn't really have any hopes either, because I think werewolves are really difficult. And one thing I did, I mean, I'll bring this up again in what you've been watching, but I did. It's on Shudder. I rewatched that one from 2010. And maybe too also because and maybe it's just a shifting of the times or like we've had a lot of this, but we just got Nosferatu. And then I watched that one from 2010. And back then they were more willing to do those kind of like period pieces, even if they were very silly. I mean, you had movies that they're bad.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong,
The
but
Van
like
Helsings
the
and
Van
stuff.
Helsings, exactly, where you're actually walking through this village and there's, the stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
I
then
miss that shit.
and yeah,
Honestly.
that's kind of me too. And with this, the whole idea of we're gonna make it modern, we're gonna bring it into the modern day. But then we just watched Nosferatu, and I was like, I kind of like that. And I watched it 2010. I'm like, a werewolf movie. I kind of want it to be kind of gothic, honestly. I want a giant, ridiculously big full moon that's not realistic at all, with the silhouette of the wolf out on the moors and
Goth juice.
yeah, goth juice. I know, but I don't know. I just this modern take, but it's a virus. You see, it's not a curse. I don't. I'm just like it's not that interesting to me, especially when you don't really kind of. It doesn't making it a virus doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't say like
What
that's
doesn't
interesting.
change
It
the
just makes me
game?
think. That's just how you're trying to incorporate it into a more grounded, realistic way, but it doesn't do anything.
I don't even think it like they even harped on that enough to where it became a thing for me where I was like I know that it's a disease or whatever, but I think that really the thing that was pointing at was just that this was going to be a gradual descent into something rather
Yeah.
than a like a magical transformation fucking fairy godmother style that ends at midnight or whatever. Like it's not going to be that, which
Mhm.
I kind of can get down with that just as a way of like saying no, this is a more biological approach. I can appreciate that. It's
I'm
just
down with the
everything
idea,
around
too.
it is not good. I would just realize that like the one like purely werewolf movie that I really do think that I like that I do like is Ginger Snaps, and it's like
Hell yeah.
that movie has a lot of interesting shit that it's saying. Like, and
You
it
don't
has
like American Werewolf in London?
oh no, I do like that movie
That
fine. I
movie's
didn't like it as much as other people though. Like I definitely have
Wow.
a more tepid reception to it than a lot of people.
I
It's been a
rewatched
long
that like
time.
a year ago or something, and I was surprised at how much fun it was. I really like loved rewatching it.
Maybe I need to rewatch it. It's been years, but I remember being like, this doesn't feel classic-y to me.
Mm.
Like it doesn't quite reach the levels that I was led to believe, I don't think.
There's one about that came out in like around the 2000s about soldiers that are werewolves or
Dog
Dog.
something.
Soldiers.
I've
Yeah.
never
Never
seen
saw
that.
that.
Is it
Rob,
any
you saw it,
good?
right?
I think it's okay. A lot of people
Yeah.
really love it, though.
Oh yeah, that's what it has a good reputation.
There's this movie called Late Phases that I like a lot.
Maybe
Came
that's the one
out
I thought you were talking about.
in like 2008 or something like that. I'd recommend checking that out if you're into werewolf movies. I feel like it's not talked about very often.
I've never, yeah.
It's
There's that
a
Christmas one too. The Wolf of
Snow
Snow
Hollow.
Hollow,
Hollow.
yeah.
That's a
Mhm.
banger. Yeah,
That
that's a
one
never
good
is
saw
one.
that
good,
one.
yeah.
Werewolves Within. I'm looking at several now. There's Werewolves Within. There's
Yeah.
fucking all kinds of like B movies, of course, and then
Yeah.
The Howling is a big
fucking
one.
Teen Wolf. I forgot about that one. The Howling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if I've seen the Howling one. I can't remember if I have or not. I know we saw Howling 2 for
Yeah,
sure
I
did.
don't
thanks
think
to Miles.
I don't think I've
Um,
seen The Howling.
It's worth watching.
So
pretty
I don't know.
cool.
Maybe I just have blind spots, and like, there's just something about it that seems silly to me in a way that like the witch, like witches, used to seem silly before the witch came around, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this can be fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
I just need more. I just need a little of that. I need somebody to get really anachronistic with it, but not involve like major studio bullshit like 2010's Wolfman. I think like I don't know.
Silver Bullet
There's
was
some-
fun.
I did not like that much.
Was
Yeah.
that the one we covered? Yeah,
Yeah.
the jumped up Palomino and whatever.
Yep.
Bald-headed Jesus
Yeah.
Palomino.
I honestly don't remember what I thought about that movie.
I think you liked it a lot, if I
Maybe.
remember correctly.
I could be.
Because
I don't
it's
know.
just fun. It's like a silly movie. It's
It
fun.
is a silly movie. I liked laughing about it, but I did not
Yeah.
enjoy watching that movie.
I can't remember any of the beats on it. Honest, I'm trying to like pull
The
up some
kid
image
in
in my
the
mind.
the kid is in a wheelchair, and his crazy uncle, played by Gary Busey, like soups it up for him, and it falls ass.
the Indians, piss on the Phillies.
Yeah, it's a he's got a sister, right?
Yeah, and there's
Yeah,
And his
got a
yeah.
sister is like really jealous
she's the
of
one
him or
telling the story.
something.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it doesn't pay off. I
I
don't
kind of
know.
remember that. Yeah.
You meddling little shit!
That's Silver Bullet. That's
Yeah.
the priest that turns out to
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
That's
yeah. That's
right, yeah.
right. Yeah. Okay, I'm remembering
Yeah.
more now.
And then, of course, there's this all-timer scene.
He always called me that.
Holy shit, dude.
That's good shit.
Woo.
That's
That
good.
man
it's,
was on
it's
a lot of
enjoyable for all the
cocaine.
wrong reasons.
Yeah. Gary Busey is fucking on a bender when they shot that movie. Goddamn.
Can you imagine being a kid having to work next to Gary Busey
No.
and being like, what the fuck is
I
happening?
cannot.
Having no idea that he's coked out of his mind, just thinking that's what he is. Like, that's how he is. Be like, what the shit?
That's
Yeah.
Mike Busey.
Oh my
There was a
God.
show that followed him on Comedy Central years ago called I think it was like it's I'm with Busey, where it was
Oh,
like
man.
some dude just following Gary Busey around all day. I never watched it because I didn't know who that was at the time, but I remember this as my first experience knowing even who he was. And as the years wore on, that show gets more and more of a mystery to me. I wonder if anybody even fucking remembers it. Maybe it's
I
lost.
do
in the
not.
years.
I don't. That
I
sounds
remember he was on
awful.
like Entourage for a while or something, or I don't know. Yeah, he's a weird guy.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
one-season reality show.
Let's see that.
I bet it was only one season.
Damn.
It literally was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not surprised. But anything else you guys want to touch on before we rate this thing?
No, let's rate it.
Let's do it out of 5. Juice, why don't you kick us off? How do you feel about Wolf, man?
Man, I just really don't like this. I don't. And even to the point where I have to even consider that not a lot of the ideas are intriguing to me, and I have to make excuses to think like if this happened and this happened and this happened, then maybe the ideas would be interesting to me. Like I have to make all these hypothetical situations if it played out this way, but as it is, I don't find it as a virus interesting. There's some universe where it could be, but it's not in this film. And so I don't find that idea so intriguing other than it's just different than what we're used to. The performances are bad. I think for the most part, it looks good. Like I do, like Randy said, I do like the setting and the kind of isolation of it. I mean, at least it makes some sense. But other than that, there's just not much positive, honestly. I can't pull out anything. The body horror, I guess. Okay, I guess that's the best element of this film is the body horror is done well. This teeth slowly falling out, him chewing on his arm, the nails kind of coming off, and then things coming through where the nail holes are, and that. But I thought the mouth, like the ultimate look, was quite silly. So it's just the transformation scenes and the blood scenes, and or I mean, like the bloody arm scene, and the spider thing was pretty cool. I liked that. Definitely better than the jerky aspect. But yeah, these lines are garbage, and I think there's some wasted, like you said. I think there's some acting power here that's kind of wasted. I don't know. I just think nothing really hits well for me here. So it looks pretty good. There's some solid body horror and a couple elements where it kind of pulls off the aspects of the wolf. So I'm gonna give it a 1.5. I just don't think this is good. Don't think it's good.
1.5.
Yeah, Bob, out of 5, what are you gonna rate the Wolf Mang?
Yeah, I'm mostly on the same page here. I think the core ideas are not bad and could have made for a really interesting werewolf movie, but unfortunately, it's just so this movie they should have called it Hollow Mang because it just feels so damn hollow. There is
Oh, Bob.
Wow.
just
Congrats on that one.
Wolf Mang is
buzzing.
alfing into theaters.
Sigmund Baum says.
Yourself!
Sigmund Baum says this movie sucks. Yeah, it's just the ideas are okay. There are some quality actors here, and there's zero chemistry, absolutely zero chemistry, and I don't think they go far enough with really any aspect of the movie with the parents scarring children and the generational trauma or the disease aspect and like watching someone you love slowly fade away until you can't recognize them anymore. I don't feel like the father was ever really a threat to his family. Him killing his own father is just it's man, it's just a thud. It just falls with a thud. It
I
just
mean, did you not? I definitely knew that was coming. Did you
for
guys did?
sure.
No, there's
okay.
nobody else in the film. There's
Yeah.
literally nobody else it could be that would have
I think
any
they're
kind
trying
of
to.
impact.
I think that's maybe the point of adding that opening crawl. So you think maybe it's the hiker, 20 fucking 5 years later. Like
Maybe.
I don't know.
It's yeah, the score was weird, like I said. There was like big chunks of space where there's like no music happening and just flat dialogue and I was looking around like did they finish editing this? Is like did they
Yeah.
release this too early or something?
Mm.
So there was like some interesting camera work, and I think some of the practical effects and the transformation, the slow transformation, like were pretty cool. In that one scene where he was like scratching his arm, really was disgusting and got me. I just needed so much more of that. Um, yeah, I think I'm kind of with Justin on this, like with a 1.5. I think that sounds about right.
Hmm.
Randy, how do you feel?
Well, I think we're closer than I had originally anticipated. I thought you guys were gonna come in at like 0.5s or something. Like that was my anticipation from the prelude anyway. But yeah, I agree with a lot of the points. I think that like the thing that is stopping me is from giving it a similar score is two things. Well, okay, one is the few things that I did like, which is like you said, like I liked the idea and some of the execution of a long transformation, and I liked that it was one night and it wasn't like this prolonged thing. I thought that was nice and different and interesting to me. It could add a lot of there was a lot of fertile ground there that they could have done something with. I just don't think they did. But I like that. I like the setting a lot. Just a personal preference. I really love that setting. They really did the natural beauty of that area justice, and it also makes a lot of sense because that's like that's Bigfoot country. That's like
Yeah.
Hell
that's
yeah.
a place where you get lost. That's a place where like that's untamed in a way that a lot of America isn't anymore.
They got the cherry chupacabras out
or
there.
at
You
least
gotta watch
East
out.
Coast. Sure.
Riff raff out in
Cherry
the woods.
Oh, the riffraff, yes. I forgot what the fuck you meant by that.
Blueberry
Oh,
big
yeah, like-
feet's out
The
there.
turquoise tornadoes out there in them woods, boys.
Oh my goodness.
They called me in high school.
I believe that.
Because you drank so much hypnotic. Puked everywhere.
That's a Sigma drink right there.
A Sigmund.
Sigmund.
That's a Sigmund drink right
I'll take
there.
a triple hypnotic.
But yeah, like those are
Neat.
things I liked about it. I did like the fact that the communication breaks down. I liked some of, like I said, the body horror and things like that. I liked what they were trying to do with the characters, but it just didn't work. Or some of it anyway. And that's really the crux of it. Is like without the human element landing, this movie's just not going to land well. And the other half of it, I said two things that are keeping me from giving it too terrible of a score, the same score you guys did. The second thing is that I just kind of I won't say that I didn't not enjoy myself. I won't say that I had a great time. I had a fairly good time though watching it. I was like, okay. Like I recognized all the problems. It was just like maybe it just wasn't offensively bad to me. You know what I mean? I didn't get like I didn't have a groan moment where I was like, oh, I can't believe they fucking did that. And maybe it was just the mood I was in. Who knows? But for the sake of getting a number out there, I'm just going to go right down the middle on this one and give it a 2.5. Maybe that's overly
Randy.
generous.
A
Yeah,
generous
That is
man.
right.
I'm going off of my experience this time, and if there ever is a next time, probably not. Stands to drop. Who knows?
All right, well, that's going to put our aggregate at a 1.8 for Wolfmang. Let's jump over to our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users have to say.
Certified fresh to death.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment of the show in which I'm going to have these gentlemen guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate positive score is on RottenTomatoes.com. Starting with the critic score, also known as the tomatometer, and then moving on to the user score, also known as the poopometer, also known as the popcorn meter.
Popcornometer.
It's so
Popcornometer.
fucking. They make it impossible.
Popcornometer.
Why do this to
Popcornometer.
us?
Popcornometer.
I don't. I'm not a linguist. I'm not a cunning linguist, guys. I can't do it.
I've heard that.
Beta Randy over here. Got that short tongue.
God damn it. My tongue's too short. What? Has that ever been a thing? Anyway. Tomatometer is 171. Rob really tickled his own pickle on that shit.
Oh,
What an insult. Got
that's a
that,
Sigmund joke, right?
got that short tongue.
171 reviews on the tomatometer, on the critic score. I'm going to start with Juice today since Bob's got to laugh it out a little longer. Juice, where do you think those 171 reviewers came in? Critic reviewers.
I don't know. For some reason, I think people are going to fall, critics, I think, are going to fall more in the Randy camp of being a little forgiving because this movie's trying to do things. And I think that still holds some kind of weight. I don't know. I'm hoping there's kind of now I find myself hoping there's more of a shift to be like, we don't need to make things modern anymore. Go back. I want some more kind of serious period pieces or something. I don't know. Serious. Yeah.
Period.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's a period.
Serious. So I might give this movie nope, I'm not ready.
What? Whoa.
I'm gonna guess.
I don't think there's a cunning linguist in the bunch, personally.
This is a popcornometer.
Don't insult my skills, Randy. I'm gonna guess somewhere. I'll say 50. I'll take Randy's score, 50.
Okay, heading right to the 50. Okay, Bob, why don't you follow that up? You going over, under, somewhere else?
Let me see that tongue real quick, Juice. What do you? Oh yeah,
It's a nice and long, Bob.
the action. Oh, it goes on for days.
It's a little long in the tongue.
Oh shit. What is this? I don't know. 50 is that's a good guess. I might take the under on it. I'll just take a
bet.
40.
Safe bet.
40,
I
all
think.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
If it's
you guys are
45,
right
we
in
can
the zone.
tie.
Yeah.
You're not going to tie.
Damn it.
You're right in the zone, though. One of you is 3 points away, and that person is Soju. It is 53%.
Oh wow, it's going to be 47. Whoa, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
All
that's
right.
a hell you.
I was a little surprised it was over 50 as well. I kind of thought it
Yeah.
would skew more towards you guys, but yeah, there you go. 53%. Is there a critics? Yeah, critics consensus reads director Lee Winnell's attempt at bringing a fresh psychological dimension to the Wolfman comes at the expense of proper scares, although fans of body horror will still find some tasty morsels to chew on. I don't think that's entirely erroneous.
Yeah.
All right, let's go in reverse order. We're going to talk about the Poopometer, 500 plus verified ratings from users. Rob, kick us off here. What do you think those users are coming in on this one at?
Popcornometer. It's probably. I feel like it's going to be in the same zone. I will take the 50. I'll take the 50 down the middle this time.
Ooh, okay. Down the middle. All right. Soju, how about you? Where
I'm
you
gonna
going
take
with
the
it?
low in this time because I think the audience is gonna be less forgiving than the critics. So I'm gonna take a 45.
35. All right. Well, you guys aren't too far off the mark here, but one of you is 9 percentage points away. That person's Bob. It's 59%. on the
What?
Poopometer.
Ooh. Got
Both
it.
are splatters, but neither are sub 50, which
That's
I am a
surprising.
little surprised about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that the audience liked it more.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I think that makes sense because I don't think that modern audiences are necessarily big Wolfman aficionados. They may not be as tired of the same
Yeah,
tricks.
that's fair.
They're not Wolfmangs. They're not alphas.
They're not alphas, is what you're saying, Randy.
They are just villagers. They told
Cool.
you. All right, let's read a couple of negative reviews just to do it, just because sometimes they're funny. Here's one. I appreciate the psychological approach to Wolfman. The story and progression are what makes the film disappointing.
Hilarious as usual.
Not hilarious, and I'm not parsing it properly, I don't think. Let's find another one, and if it's not funny, you know what? So be it.
We tried.
Wolfman takes longer to show the story's wolf transformation than it does to watch paint dry, which would be a better alternative than watching this sluggish, nonsensical horror movie. Adequate visual effects can't save this mess.
Hilarious.
Paint drying is awesome.
Man.
Depends
You
on
know-
what color.
Does it?
Yes. Let me get that turquoise
big-
tornado.
You're a subscriber to paint drying on YouTube? Just, sometimes they're hits, sometimes they're misses, but you know.
Cherry chupacabra comes in real nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. All right, let's call it. Let's move on to the next fucking thing.
Yeah, it does. Okay, yeah, we got some trivia on this. Let's go ahead and get into it.
It's totally time for trivia.
All right, there, fellas. Yeah, this movie was a long time coming. Initially in 2021, Ryan Gosling was gonna star in this. He was also gonna executive produce. I think he actually did produce the one that we ended up getting.
Was that when they had some kind of universe going on or no?
No, I think this was separate from that.
Ryan Gosling can act his ass off.
I think he had like
Man,
I think he actually had an idea for it and like wanted to make it. And Derek Cianfrance was gonna direct. I'm not familiar with that dude. It was gonna be their third collaboration. Two years later, though, both of them left the project. Just they had scheduling issues pop up, and then after that, whatever story Gosling had went to the wayside. Lee Winnell came in and picked it up. And I was listening to an interview with Lee Winnell. He was after he made Invisible Mang, they were asking him if he wanted to make a Wolf Mang. He's like, "No, I don't have an idea." And they were sort of like, "Well, I mean, like if you were to make one, just like what would you do?" And then they got him thinking about it, and then eventually just kind of suckered him into making a movie. So
Yeah, see, when
here
you
we
don't
go.
have a pad, see, that makes me want the
problem.
Ryan Gosling one because
yeah,
Ryan Gosling also too is in that Dead Man's Bones. So
Yeah,
it
he's
seems
a
like
horror
he
guy.
has a kind of love for these kind of classic and like and maybe he could make a soundtrack for it too, you know?
and it would slap. Yeah,
well,
Yeah,
here's the thing. Like,
probably.
I think he might have just gotten too big for this production. Like, because
Yeah, but if it's like a passion project for his.
no, I agree. Like, I just think that maybe like that, like scheduling conflicts come with
Yeah,
success.
sure,
So
sure,
like, I think
sure.
that might have been more this year. I looked up the director you mentioned, Bob Derek Shunfrance. I don't know. He did
Yeah.
Blue Valentine and The Place Beyond the Pines. He was a writer for those, and which I have seen neither of those.
me either.
And he did direct Blue Valentine as well. And The Place Beyond the Pines. Okay, yeah, he directed both of them as well as a few other things. But those are two that I at least know the names of, and I feel like have generally positive feelings associated with them. At least that's what I gather. So I don't know. I could have been interesting. The thing is, it's always better to go with somebody who's has a passionate idea for a project than it is to go with somebody who's a hired gun. It's
You
just
got to
always
sucker
going to be
into
better.
making it. Do you want to
Right,
make this?
yeah.
No. Well, what if we threw money at you?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, when you put it that way, let's make Lego Movie 3.
Oh God.
Yeah. The practical costume and makeup that was released at Universal Studios last year in 2024, they had like a Wolfman for Horror Nights. Everybody thought that was like the creature in the movie, and if you didn't see the images, it looked like dog
It looked like
shit.
shit.
Yeah.
It
So
looked like just a creepy farmer mask. Like,
Oh no.
it looked really stupid, but like that was some sort of flub, and like Lee Winnell had to go around and like make sure everybody like knew like that's not the actual Wolfman, like because
I hadn't heard that. I
Because
thought it
goddamn.
was. I thought I chalked it up to like, yeah, sometimes fucking haunted house costumes are not the best, even at Universal. Like
Yeah.
they're still just rubber masks a lot of the time. So, but it's interesting that it was just a complete misinformation.
Yeah, they fucked up. The moving truck in the film is called a company called Pierce, and it says it's been in business since 1941. 1941 was the year the original Wolfman, and Jack Pierce was Universal's. He did all the monster makeup for the 30s and 40s, the movies that came out in 30s and 40s. Little nod to that. Winnell and his wife Corbett Tuck co-wrote the film's first draft by pulling from the feeling of confinement and isolation caused by the COVID-19 pandemic to touch on the inevitability of illness and death, setting the story primarily in one location to make the drama intimate and drawing from themes of parenting and marriage.
Man, I did not get the COVID thing at all. I just completely glossed that as a possibility. They didn't do
Yeah.
anything with it, so I don't think that I missed a whole
Yeah.
lot. But
Yeah, not really.
um,
Winnell hosted weekly film screenings for his crew at a theater inside the studio where the film was shot. He showed The Shining, The Thing, The Fly, Little Children, Blue Valentine, Amour, and Under the Skin.
interesting. But
That's
Valentine was
neat.
on that list.
Yeah. To prepare for the role, Abbott watched hours of animal videos on YouTube to grasp the wolf's body language. Garner interviewed working mothers about societal pressures put on women and suggested that her character go through the 7 stages of grief after reading books on grief and loss. Which, I don't know, man. I don't know if you really got those, honestly.
Dude, I did not get that. The only thing I got from her about being a mother was just that one line where she's like, I don't know if I'm a good mother anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
I
you're
don't
setting something
connect
up,
with
and
my
then I don't-
daughter. Yeah.
And then that just never comes back again. They might have kind of hinted at it when she ran to hug her father after he comes back in once, and she kind of has a sad look. But of course she fucking did. Her father just fucking saved their lives or some shit. Like it was like
Yeah.
a moment where it made perfect sense.
Well, yeah, and there's no push and pull between you. They could have used that to make the daughter want to go to the dad, but the dad is dangerous now, and the mom is doing her best to convince the daughter that she can't go to her dad because the dad's dangerous. The daughter
Or she
doesn't want
trusts
to
her daughter
abandon
to
the
do
dad.
it,
But
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
turns out
just
that's
like
the right
there's
move.
no tension between the daughter and the mom. Yeah.
Like,
You
they
don't
get
get a
along
sense of their
fine.
relationship
Yeah,
at
like
all.
the daughter
Like,
could
aside-
like be putting herself in danger to be near the dad when the dad has lost control, and the mom needs like no, they don't do any of that. They don't do any of that.
Nope.
Well,
not really. There's like, oh, you killed some. I don't know. There's a little tension, but it's not any tension that you would expect. You would not expect from anybody else in that situation.
no, if
It's not
anything,
about
like
their
the mom should be
relationship.
like maybe trying to kill the dad, but the girl's trying to stop her. But she's like, oh, dad can
Yeah, they
be
kind
saved
of-
or dad can be healed. But the girl is the one who tells the mom to shoot the
Ultimately,
dad.
I know. Like if they had harped on that a little bit, if they had, like
Oh
the
my
thing is, I think they
God.
did try to do that. It was just so slight and so barren of feeling that I just didn't. It didn't stick. Like I was,
Yeah.
when she finally says that, it just feels like kind of out of nowhere. It's like what? Why?
What?
I think we
Yeah.
could all agree this is not a 2.5 film. That's for sure.
Yeah. The last thing I have here, the budget was 25 million, and currently the box office is sitting at around 17 million, so it'll probably make its money back.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's not
Can't
bad
wait for
enough that
Wolfman
like I'm
2.
like, oh, they should fail financially or miserably.
Nah, it's
I mean, I just think it's kind of a dud. You know, you tried,
yeah.
you didn't really care about it. You know, Lee Winnell, especially knowing that, it's like, you know, if anything, the executives should learn the lesson here. It's like, Lee Winnell did his
Good luck.
best. Well, I know, but he did his best. He was talked into it. They threw money at him. You know, what are you gonna do?
He's got a good track record. Like
Yeah.
he's made
He makes
a
cool
lot of
movies.
bangers.
Didn't
Yeah.
he?
Here's
He
the
did like
thing.
Upgrade too,
Upgrade,
and
yeah.
Invisible Man. Those are bangers. Yeah.
yeah.
Here's the thing though, like even movies that like even projects, not even movies, projects that you get as a creative person that are not what you necessarily want to work at, you can still get excited about it. I don't buy that he wasn't
Sure.
invested in this. I just think that it was like it's putting the cart before the horse. If you don't have
Yeah.
the engine, don't build the body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mechanic Randy over here. Getting technical.
Awesome fucking mixed metaphor ass
That's
bullshit
great.
there.
That's all the trivia I got. Cooter of the week. Is there a cooter in this? Do we even need to?
There's like no people.
I know. Yeah. there's-
You know who I think's the cooter?
Olives.
The little girl.
Yeah. Oh, her name is Ginger, by the way, after Ginger Snaps.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
good for her.
Werewolf Bar Mitzvah.
Spooky
He's
scary.
scary.
Boys becoming men. Men becoming wolves.
It's a great, great scene. Anyway,
Hell yeah. Okay.
happy 30 for that one.
You want to talk about what we've been watching?
Sure.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Randy's, you're chomping at the bit. What you been watching?
Oh yeah, I just I just wanted to skip Cooters because I didn't want to have to force it. Yeah, only a few things really. Watch Squid Games season 2. Really feels like Squid Game season, like I don't know, 1.5 or like it's a half a season. It doesn't feel like a full season of the show. It doesn't feel like a complete story the way the first season did, and I was disappointed by that. That's the big takeaway I got from it. However, the internal machinations of it are still good. I enjoy watching it. The action is good. I don't know where they're going quite with it yet, but I feel like there's still some commentary that needs groundwork laid on that. The way that Squid Games 1 really kind of like brought that shit home. I think this one is starting to really form in that way, forming that social commentary that the first season had. Anyway, I'm excited about it. To see the final season. I'm glad that it's not like 3 years away again, but I wish they would just have released it all at once and given it another 6 months. But no, the hype train has to be back on
You
track.
gotta feel the hype train.
Mhm.
I'm gonna
well-
get some of those pop-ups coming up in May and June, all the way out. I play the Squid Games myself.
Okay. Yeah, good. If you go missing, we'll know what happened.
He got squid gamed.
Well, I got squidded. I've been watching Kunk on Life. I think I mentioned that before. It's a basically like a faux documentary show with a comedian, Philomena Kunk, or rather her character, Philomena Kunk, British woman, going and talking to various experts about various issues and various things about life or whatever, and just saying the most insane shit. It's very, very funny. It's really tough to describe, but it's like a Daily Show interview, but more kind of in a David Attenborough style, like more documentary film sort of style. It's great. It's a great show. It's a great movie. Kunk on Life is the movie, yeah, and then Kunk on Earth was the show that came out last year. It's both on Netflix. Check them out. Lost. Been rewatching Lost. Got to the end of season 5. Man, there's some shit I had forgotten about. And this show actually does explain a lot more than I gave it credit for. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's so much that was not explained." I was like, "No, they go to great lengths."
I just don't think it's rewarding in what they
exactly.
explain.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. The things they end up.
That's how I remember it.
Yeah. Okay, the mysteries are just more interesting. Like that's the thing about it. The more you find out, the less interesting it becomes. It's a Michael Myers scenario. But the action of it is still fun, and I'm getting a good nostalgia trip from it. I've been watching Detroiters. Which is the what is his name? Shit. Oh no, what is his fucking name? Tim Robinson and Sam. Oh my god. Detroiters. I'm gonna look it up. It's a comedy show.
The dude from Werewolves Within.
Yeah, Sam Richardson. Tim Robinson and
Yeah.
Sam Richardson. Very bizarre, strange kind of humor, like silly shit. Very silly, very, very much on par with what you see in I Think You Should Leave and Tim Robinson's other stuff. And I assume some of Sam's other stuff as well, but I see him a lot in like supporting roles on things, less so than leading his own shit. That's all I have seen is what I mean. He could definitely do that himself. Anyway, it's a fun show is the short version of that. And then 2 more things. Severance came back, season 2, episode 1. That show just keeps surprising me with shit. Like the approaches it takes are very fucking surprising. Best show on TV right now, probably though. Like still saying it.
Are
I'll
they
see how
doing like episode by episode type of deal?
They are, which I am so thirsty for that kind of release schedule.
Randy's a thirsty boy.
Yeah,
I'm a
he
thirsty boy who's not
Thirst
a
trap
linguist. So
is. Short tongue Randy.
I'm screwed.
Capitalist Randy, he wants them to Milk him for all he's got, Hang on
I
to
just
that
want time to
subscription.
digest and talk with people about. That's the thing. I compare
Milk
that show
me,
a lot to
Apple. Milk
Lost.
me.
Take
Lost.
me for every cent I have.
Milk me? Is that what you just said?
Milkman Randy.
Um, yeah, you do your own milking. I've got that covered. Thank you very much. No, it's a fucking fabulous show, and I'm really happy to have gaps so that people can theorize a little bit. It feels like it'll feel like Lost did. I feel like the
Those
world needs
large gaps, yeah. The
Needs
those
world
gaps,
needs some gaps.
Randy.
you're just a filthy boy.
You dirty bird.
All right, last but not least, I did watch this film, Juror Number 2. It's a Clint Eastwood film.
The rural juror. The rural
The
juror.
Rural Juror, yeah.
Deuce.
It's a Clint Eastwood film. It's got Nicholas Hoult in the lead and Tony Collette. It's actually got a great cast. Fucking Tony Collette is in it. Who else? Fucking Kiefer Sutherland has a short role, and so does J.K. Simmons. It's a courtroom drama, kind of, and it's tough to get into what's interesting about it. But it's I saw it described. The reason I watched it is because I saw it described as a return to adult films, or films for adults. It's not a bombastic fucking movie. It's also not a porno, to be clear.
Well, then I'm not watching them.
Yeah, I know.
I only
know, you
watch
gotta-
bombastic pornos.
That's all I watch.
only watch Beetlejuice the porno. But yeah, no, this is a good movie. It's I don't know. It's tough to describe. I really don't know how to not spoil it. So I'm just gonna say, if you're down for sort of a sort of tense thing, if you like that show in Your Honor with Bryan Cranston, it's got a similar feel to that, in my opinion, from what I've seen of that show, which is about 5 episodes or something. But there's courtroom drama. There's a lot of information that kind of comes out in the woodwork. There's almost beat for beat remake scene that's almost a beat for beat remake of 12 Angry Men, but then it subverts that. It's pretty fucking interesting. I don't know. I don't know that I loved it, but I enjoyed it a lot, and it felt like something that, it's not going to be for family night. It's going to be for mom and dad to chill out and watch one night.
This one ain't for the kids, says Randy.
Come to daddy.
Cool.
That's it.
That's it. All right,
That
Juice.
brain dump was all of it.
What you been watching?
I also finished Squid Game season Deuce, and that one I recorded a mini cast on it, so that'll be coming out at some point, and it's got some decent highs and some low lows. But yeah, I am curious about the third season coming out. I'm glad we don't have to wait super long to get it. And I don't really mind the gap necessarily. So, I rewatched Strange Darling. That was a really fun rewatch. I mentioned before I watched that Wolfman from 2010, and yeah, I don't know, it got me kind of jonesing for some of those more less serious types of movies. It was better than I remember. Not great. It's still got its problems, but maybe just because I had watched this one that I just liked it significantly better. It's just more fun, I guess. But yeah, that one's got a cool transformation scene though. And I've been watching some Bourdain
Hell
around
yeah.
meal times. Yeah, some good ones. They're starting to look dated now though. I am starting even for 2013, I'll notice some of the styles and the shots and stuff. It's I'm like, whoa, really noticing the date on these, which is really weird to think about.
Tony rocking the lowrider jeans or some shit.
Yeah, but
Wearing
even just
some
the
Uggs.
just maybe the video quality or how it's edited. I don't know. I'm just noticing it more now. It's interesting. But let's see. And then is there anything else? Squid Games. No. Oh, no. I watched this this movie from last year. It's an Adam Sandler movie called Spaceman from last year, where Paul Dano is a giant spider. Have y'all heard of this?
What?
Yes.
Are you sure
No.
you didn't dream this?
It is 2004 Netflix movie with Adam Sandler as an astronaut alone in space, and Paul Dano is a talking giant spider.
Sick.
Yeah. It's weird for that strange premise. They try to play it really straight and serious. It's this like drama. It's this like emotional drama. It's
Weird.
dude, it's really weird. The spider does
Look.
not look great. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's got this little talking mouth too in between his like tentacles. It's weird. They made some choices
Look.
in there.
I
Yeah.
approve of a weirdo flick.
It's
so-
weird. It's weird. And if you like Adam Sandler in a serious role, I mean it's very serious and dramatic. But that's the premise. I don't want to spoil anything else, but yeah, I guess the whole premise is he's an astronaut that's going to there's this something has happened and you can like see it in Earth, like this cloud, like a gas cloud. You can see it in Earth, and he's an astronaut that's going to like collect samples of it to kind of like try to figure out like what it is or whatever. And Paul Dano is a giant spider. But yeah. Um I think that's all I've been watching that I can remember.
Dano's a giant spider.
And that is the time that it talks. Bob, what you
That
been
old
watching?
chestnut.
Yeah, you know,
See it
story is
every
all
day.
this time. Yeah,
Every day.
classic tale. Bob, what you been watching?
A couple things. I watched this newer movie called A Real Pain. It is on
Oh, I want to see
Hulu.
that.
I liked it pretty good. It was written and directed and also starring Jesse Eisenberg. And it's got one of the Culkins, Kiernan, I think, is the one that's in
Mm.
it. They're the leads and they're cousins. And their grandmother passes away, and she's originally from Poland. So they travel to Poland to try and, well, they do like a World War II, like walking tour kind of thing. And then at the end of it, they go to their grandmother's childhood home and see where she grew up.
Okay.
And it's definitely a drama, pretty emotional. It's got like a little bit of comedy in it, but it's definitely a drama. Some pretty sad stuff, heavy topics for sure. But I liked it. It was good. I like both those actors quite a bit, and they did a good job. Um, Other than that, really just been rewatching really The Boys. We finished season 4 for the first time and loved it. So we just went back to season 1 and started rewatching it from the beginning. Just because we had forgotten so much about it, but that show is fucking incredible. Season 4 is maybe the best season yet. I think that show is fucking great. Super funny, really raunchy, good shit.
That's hilarious because that's like definitely the minority opinion about season 4.
Really, I thought it was
Yeah, I
great.
haven't watched it yet.
I think that I think it's great, but I also found myself on the losing end of that argument a couple times. Like, okay, well, whatever. People seem to. I think they're a little tired of the trick of the kind of tricks that they pull on that show. You know what I mean? The audacity and things like that. They're
Yeah.
kind of pulling similar stunts over and over, and it's just diminishing returns, probably.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, I guess that's a fair critique
but
of
I
it.
still enjoy it. So like,
Me
I never
too,
took the show
yeah.
that seriously to begin with. So I kind of
Thought it was-
kind of there.
It's pretty good. Anyway, rewatching that also in preparation for the new season of White Lotus. I rewatched the first 2 seasons of that because that show fucking slaps. I'm ready for season 3, which I think comes out in like February. I think it's a Valentine's Day release, actually, I believe. So there you go. That's really all I've been watching, though. Not a ton else. We do have 2 voicemails, so let's go ahead and jump into our hotline screams.
Hotline scream.
If you guys are listening and would like to call and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. First up tonight, we're hearing from Jackie B. Let's hear what she's got to say.
What up, boys? It's Jackie B calling from Chicago. Happy New Year. Just got done listening to the Best of 2024 episode. Yeah, I don't know. Every year I look forward to those episodes, but I gotta say, my favorite part is just listening to you guys bitch about the worst movies. Oh man, I agree about Trap. Big pile of dog shit. I gotta say, Buku was on my list of worst for this year. I think I just really overhyped it. Neon's got that good marketing, so I just think I went into it with way higher expectations than I should have. My top 3 of the year definitely got to be The Substance, got to be Nosferatu, and then I wanted to throw in a comedy in there. Recommend Rap World. I know Andy's a big Conor O'Malley fan. That dude just fucking cracks me up. I don't know if it's like the fact that he's always yelling or always sweaty or what his deal is, but yeah, he's funny as hell. We got to see it at Music Box Theater. And then they did a Q&A afterwards with Conor O'Malley, and the first question he asked was, how many women are here with their boyfriends? And the amount of hands that shot up in that theater was just incredible. But it was a really great movie, and if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Really captures that the aughts internet vibe. So, yeah, if you liked Y2K, it's kind of got a similar vibe. But yeah, those are my top 3 of the year. I have a really hard time narrowing it down to 10. Every year I have this problem, but yeah, so those are my top 3. Thanks again for a great year, putting out some really good episodes, and looking forward to 2025. And I cannot wait for Overlook Film Fest. It's going to be a blast. All right, y'all, stay cool. Bye-bye.
Hell yeah. Overlook's going to be fucking fun. We're getting a little meetup going. So
Can't wait.
there's
Can't
gonna
wait
be
to
a-
meet you
yeah.
boys there again, just like last time when we all slept in that bed together. That was great.
Every time. Just 3 alphas, 1 bed.
That's not how that works.
I don't remember 3 alphas being there, but I don't know. I was kind of drunk, so.
It was just me
Mhm.
and the other 2.
One too many hand grenades.
I have not heard of Rap World. I'm very shocked at myself.
Yeah, I haven't
Conor
heard of
O'Malley
that
is one
either.
of my faves. Conor O'Malley, for those who aren't familiar, like he was a writer on Seth Meyers' show. I'm looking up some of the stuff he wrote on Joe Pera Talks with You. He wrote on How To with John Wilson. All these like sort of subversive comedy, like oddball comedies. He's getting his fingerprints in all of them. He was even in like Horace and Pete back when that came out, like very briefly. But I don't know. His star is rising. You know what I mean? I didn't know there was a fucking movie called Rap World though. I'm gonna have to check that out. He did release last year or the year before last now, a short called The Mask about a guy basically going insane while wearing doing and trying to make it. I'm trying to remember exactly the premise. Trying to make it in LA, I think, by becoming the Jim Carrey character, The Mask, by wearing a rubber mask and going around and interviewing people on the street like a lunatic. Very fucking weird shit.
It's very weird. Yeah, damn.
So I'm excited to hear about that. Thanks for the tip, Jackie.
Talked about a lot of weird shit tonight.
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody likes to just hear us bitch out there. That's cool.
I think probably
Besides us,
people
you mean.
prefer that.
It's very possible. Yeah.
It's very, very marketable to bitch about things.
Yeah.
Speaking of bitching, you know what we didn't get to watch last year? Shelby Oaks. Whatever happened to that movie? Did
Yeah,
it get
yeah.
released?
No, it got picked up. It's not released yet. Madden
yeah.
releasing it,
Okay.
right?
Well, we'll save that for bitching
It'll
later
be this
year.
year. Oh yeah, we're just gonna lay into it.
Probably.
Nah, I'm sure
It
it's
says
fine.
2024 on IMDb, but that can't.
I mean,
be
that's because
correct.
it dropped in the festivals. It was
festivals.
at that one that we
Yeah, right,
covered,
right,
but
right,
we
right.
couldn't get a copy of it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling, Jackie. Definitely looking forward to chilling in NOLA with you for the Overlook Film Festival. Next up, we're going to hear from, I believe, Slytowski. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Hey fellas, I don't have anything relevant to say as to the last few episodes. I haven't been keeping up too recently, but I just wanted to say in some episode, I think the Exorcist triple feature, Justin said, "Do me Pazuzu," and that has never left my mind since then. Keep chilling.
That I don't know why he chose to call while hiding from the Quiet Place monsters, but it's an interesting choice. I don't remember you saying that, but it does sound like a
Yeah, I'm sure.
That was like
Sure you
several
did.
years
Socialism.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 Halloween specials ago. It was a triple feature. Yeah.
Yeah, that
for-
was like 2 or 3 ago. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Do me Pazuzu. Get that
Mhm.
tattooed on your
Now
ass.
that is an ass tat for sure.
Damn.
Oh, do
Awesome.
me Pazuzu. Cool. Yeah, thanks for calling Slytoski.
This is a weird episode.
That that could have won the Hugh Janus Award for 2023 or 24 or 20.
I
or
know. I wonder if they're
22,
going to be
whenever it was.
posthumous awards. Should we?
Whoa,
Yeah.
Janus.
See if Hugh, do you have the time to listen to our back catalog again?
500 plus episodes.
One more time.
God, do you have
So that we can get
1,000
a
hours?
1 minute.
God, even
segment
an
out of it?
episode a day would take you no, wait, how many? Like a year and a half.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
yes, it would.
Oh my
Easier
God.
choice. Don't listen.
Oh my God.
Thanks for calling, Slytoski. Always good to hear from you. Again, if you guys are listening, want to call and leave a voicemail for next week, hit us up at 904-638-3231. Any prompts you guys want to throw out for next week's show?
What are we doing these days? I don't even
I have a
know.
prompt.
No.
So here's a prompt. Early, well, I don't like early year horror. Like we were talking about how like January and February and sometimes March are kind of the pits. What are some of your biggest hits and biggest misses from theater going? Like, give me some of your horror movies that you went to see expecting nothing in this time of the year and being surprised happily by, no matter how long ago it was. Or vice versa, go ins like, oh, I was really excited for this. Then they released it in January, and it turns out it's because it fucking sucks. If you have that story, I want to hear about what movies you guys think are, more than anything, I would like to hear more movies that are worthwhile that flew under the radar because they were an early year release. But tell me either.
I have this strange feeling that like recently there was this like banger that got released in
Saint Maud was
January. But yeah, that was like in 2021 when COVID, like those releases were weird. But I don't think it was I think it was like a March release if I remember
Yeah,
right.
it's springtime.
I think so
Was
too,
it?
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
there's
we recorded it in February. Or
Mm,
released it
really?
in February. They moved
Oh,
the
okay.
episode.
that seems strange. Okay.
I thought it was a spring release for some reason. Yeah, I feel like January used to be the dumping ground, and I think it probably still is in some situations. But
Yeah.
yeah, you get bangers thrown in January now every once in a while. So
Yeah.
solid prompt, yeah.
Glass
Let us
came
know.
out in January. So
Well,
Oh, my
that
goodness.
just, breaks that trope.
yeah, it's exception makes the rule,
man.
you know.
Well, Skinamarink was released pretty early, I feel like.
Yeah, it was. That was a
Was that?
January
Yeah,
or maybe
yeah.
a February, but it was a January, February. That I like that one. At least that I know that's a divisive movie, but
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah. The latest issue of Fangoria actually had an article about this in there. It was called like In Defense of January Horror or something like that. And it
Oh no shit!
listed a handful. The only one I can remember off the top of my dome was, I believe, Underworld was a January release.
Hell yeah.
That proves nothing.
But yeah, Skinamarink came out January 13th, so I'd put that on the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Underworld, hell yeah. That's a good defense right there.
Call in and let us
Good,
know.
good defense for fucking aborting films. before they're
Dipshits.
released.
I can't believe with as much shit Randy talks about a movie that we haven't covered it yet. That and Queen
I
of the
still haven't
Dam.
seen it.
Yeah,
I've
we
only
should-
seen the one Underworld.
You've
which
never
was
seen
Blood
OG
Wars.
Underworld? Are you serious?
No, I have no interest in
I don't
it
think
at
I
all.
knew that.
It does
Oh,
not
I'm
suck.
sure you
we should
did.
cover
It's
it.
so
It's come up so
good.
many times.
We should cover that. We should do a triple feature or shit.
I
Randy
keep
How
Savage.
telling-
much, how much breathy breathing is in
I
the
keep
movie?
telling Caitlin she keeps that eventually we're going to cover it with on this podcast. Just year after year, we
Yeah.
just have to
Oh,
disappoint
man.
her.
We got one coming up with Caitlin that I think will be a lot of fun to do. But
That's right. I forgot about that. It's going to be a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And
we'll
you
get to
can't
that.
know what it is.
Whoa. Tease for like 3 months later.
Or-
Or wait,
That's
no,
1
is
month.
it? And
It's
it like, oh yeah, it is. Okay.
1
I
month.
forgot why we were covering it.
Yeah. So yeah, call in 904-638-3231. Next week we're doing our first Patreon pick of 2024. This one was chosen by your boy Luke. The movie is Elves from 1988. And this
Hey.
This one is really easy to watch because it is on YouTube for free in its entirety. I believe, I don't know if you can rent it or stream it anywhere else. I want to say you can't.
Wait, where'd you
I
say it
couldn't
was,
find
Bob?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, on you. Thank God. Okay.
Yeah, for free. And I know this thing is like out of print on disc as fuck, so you can't buy it anywhere. So if it wasn't on YouTube, we just
And
wouldn't
it's
be
a
able to cover it.
Christmas movie?
I believe-
Yeah, I'm
we
so excited
doing?
for
What
it.
have we agreed to?
So excited. I'm so excited that Justin's going to watch an unseasonably
Like
Yeah.
a month
Unseasonably
late.
Christmas
What the
movie.
fuck?
What
Oh.
the fuck?
We've done it a few times.
Yeah. None of us have seen this one before, but Luke did mention that it's interesting even outside of the Christmas elements. So that he was
We'll
down for us
see,
to talk
we'll
about
see.
it out of season. So check out Elves on YouTube, 1988 for free. Get ready for next week's show. We're on all the social media platforms. Just search Straight Chilling Podcast and we'll pop right up. And if you do want to join in our daily Slack channel conversations, let us know on one of those social media platforms. I'll send you a link so you can join in on the fun and read the absolute book of a conversation that we just had about Red Rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. I think it's going to do it for us here at Straight Chilling. Until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
Werewolf for mitzvah.